Hello everyone! Today I'm continuing my series on answering some of the most commonly Googled questions from homebuyers. The first video I did a couple weeks ago was a recording of my homebuyer webinar where I outlined a series of common buyer mistakes to avoid. The second video I did last week answered the question a lot of buyers ask about how much house can I afford? And today's question is, should I wait for rates to drop? I get asked this all the time in today's market. And I'm gonna be real honest with you right now, nobody knows. Not me, not your lender, not the guy on YouTube with the fancy microphone, which you can clearly see I do not have, in front of me, by the way. Nobody can answer that question, and if they tell you something that sounds definitive, they are lying. If they did know the answer, they'd probably be on a yacht somewhere making these kind of big predictions. The reality is that mortgage rates move because of a lot of different economic factors. Inflation, employment, Federal Reserve policy, that is the big one. Bond markets. Don't ask me about that one because I'll have to refer you to one of my favorite lenders who knows a lot about that kind of thing, about bond markets. I'm not the one. But the bottom line is that there are entire teams of economists whose full-time jobs it is to try to predict rates. And they're wrong a lot too. It reminds me of the weatherman on the local news station who literally gets to be wrong like 50% of the time, right? So instead of trying to predict rates, I think buyers should really focus on something they can control. They can control their personal situation. Do you as a buyer need more space? Are you relocating? Are you tired of paying rent? Is the current house no longer working for your family? Those questions matter more than trying to perfectly time the market. Because here's the thing, if rates drop significantly, that's usually great for buyers, right? But it's also great for every other buyer. So when more buyers jump into the market, competition often increases, which can drive prices higher. I've actually had buyers save money on rate, but spend more on price because competition increased. So waiting doesn't always create the outcome that people expect. And I got a little story for you about some buyers of mine and what happened during the height of the market. They were relocating a family of 5 here to the Dallas area from Austin for the husband's job. They came up on various trips to look at homes, and this was when multiple offers over list was the norm. Well, they lost out on several offers and just got really frustrated, which is totally a normal reaction of buyers at that time too. They were offering tens of thousands of dollars over list price and doing inspection waivers, appraisal waivers, all the things, and they were still getting beaten out. So, in their frustration, they decided to take a year off and rent a house and go back on the house hunt after that year. Well, within that year, guess what happened? Rates went up and up and up, and they spent about $2,200 per month for rent that year. For the quick calculation on that, you're talking over $26,000 in rent. So in the end, did they save any money by waiting? Or did they lose money by waiting? Even in that instance, it really is hard to say. If I had to guess, I'd say they lost money by waiting because that 26 grand alone is kind of a gut punch, right? I mean, that's a down payment. The irony is they didn't decide to wait because they were waiting for mortgage rates to go down. They decided to wait because of all the crazy buyer competition. Buyers today are waiting for a different reason, of course. But I still can't help but think that waiting costs people money somehow, some way, right? And let's not forget this important factor too. You can refinance a loan. You cannot refinance the price you paid. If rates fall later, many buyers may have the opportunity to refinance. But if home values rise while you're waiting, you may end up paying more for the same darn house. So in the end, the best time to buy isn't when rates hit some magic number, right? It's when buying makes sense for your life. And if today's payment works comfortably for your budget, that's usually a much more important factor than trying to predict the future. Because really, who can do that, right? Not even Nostradamus. The famous Nostradamus guy. If you're wondering what buying would look like for you right now, I'm always happy to walk you through the numbers to help you explore your options if you're in the Dallas area. No pressure, no obligation, just information. Thank you for watching today, and thanks for liking the video and subscribing if you do. I appreciate that. And if you want more good real estate info, I hope you join me next week on another edition of All Things Real Estate. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
All things real estate and all things real estate.